Welcome to the Movie Goers Podcast. My name is Jordan,
And I'm Darius.
and we'll be reviewing 500 Days of Summer. This movie was released in 2009. It stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Zoe
Let's we didn't
Deschanel.
we didn't drop our ads.
Oh,
And
shit.
it's not in there. I thought I typed it. I typed it in the last one, but I didn't type it in the first one. So,
Got you, got you.
um,
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Movie Goers Podcast. My name is Jordan, Jordy B. Writing on all socials,
I'm Darius. D's all up in your area on all socials.
and we'll be reviewing 500 Days of Summer. This movie was released in 2009. It stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Zoe Deschanel, Chloe Grace, Chloe Grace Moritz, Minka Kelly, Jeffrey Arend, and Matthew Gray Subler. Yeah, crazy name choice, crazy names in this cast, guys. The plot synopsis: Tom, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is a greeting card writer and a hopeless romantic who's caught completely off guard when his girlfriend Summer, played by Zoe Deschanel, suddenly dumps him. He reflects on their 500 days together to try and figure out where their love affair went sour, and in doing so, Tom rediscovers his true passions in life. So I'm gonna throw it back to you. What are your opening impressions or thoughts of 500 Days of Summer?
First observation is the most 2009 shit ever is a job as a greeting card writer. That was post banking crash. All the millennials were taking whatever job was available. You cannot. How do you make money full time writing greeting cards? I don't think that's a thing. And also, I, this is something I live by, and this movie exemplifies it. Don't fuck your coworkers. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know you spend a lot of time with them. I know it sounds like a
Yeah,
great idea. Everyone thinks they're mature. I know everyone thinks they can handle it.
and no one can.
17 plus years in corporate America tells me, no, you cannot. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Fuck your coworkers. Find somewhere else to date. But my
True.
first
Plus, it's
question
it's
to
it's
you,
not even a real a fiction too. Have you heard that thing? It's called proximity crushes.
yeah, which I understand. Like, most people end up with people that are around them a lot, but just not your coworkers. Because,
Right.
like, you have to understand 99% of these things fail. And when they fail, you don't want to have to
Yeah.
see this person for 40 hours every week.
Do
As
not.
mature as you think you are, you're not. And as slick as you think you are, you're not.
You're
And,
not.
as, and you, even if you're comfortable with it, everyone else at work is not. It's a terrible idea. Don't open that can of worms.
Yeah, and eventually somebody's gonna quit. So
Keep your money away from your bedroom. So, there's a lot of jokes you could say about that.
unless you're a sex worker.
I was gonna say, I walked right into that one. First question to you is: Are you a fan in general of non-linear storytelling and or flashbacks?
That's a great question. Actually, I really am a big fan of that.
Yeah.
If it's done well, because it's hard to get right because it can get sloppy and you can lose the audience very quickly.
Okay.
But if it's done well and it's not done just for the sake of doing it, um, then I really enjoy it. Like for example, to me, like I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan, but some of his movies he does, and it's like you didn't even have to do this shit, bro. Like I get circular storytelling, I understand the craft, I appreciate the effort, but you could have just told us the regular way, and it would have been just as effective. Like I think of like Hateful Eight. It's like that movie's 3 hours, bro. You could have just made it 2 hours and told it regular.
This is way off topic. I maintain that we will look back in history and say Hateful Eight was when Quentin lost his fastball.
I think you're right.
It's
I
just
think you're right.
it just something about the magic, the secret sauce just
He
gets
tried to
lost
do
there.
Django, but with a ton jump, and it just didn't work.
It was a copy and paste. The, the so I kind of put the question into one, but it's really two different questions. I
Okay,
find nonlinear storytelling, I'm okay with it, when done well, like anything else.
right,
Flashbacks, I almost universally find them to be lazy storytelling. It's a common theme of the podcast. It's telling me and not showing me.
right.
Like there's ways you can tell the history of the characters
True.
without putting them in bad makeup and making them go back in history. This
Right.
movie didn't really do a lot in the flashbacks. It was just
Yeah.
non-linear storytelling. The whole movie timeline was a year and a half, 400 days or whatever. But generally speaking, I do not like flashbacks as a storytelling device.
Yeah, I
Non-linear,
get you.
it depends on, who it is and how they did it.
For sure. And I think so for me, actually, it's funny you asked me that question because one of the things I wrote down was I think the time jumps are great for this kind of story because as the opening narrator said, this is not a love story. To me, it's a
No.
heartbreak story, right? It's a story about healing and essentially finding yourself. And so when you reflect on a love story and you reflect on heartbreak, it is non-linear. Like you don't
Yeah.
think of, oh, I met her on in June and then all the way through December up until May when the breakup was. You think
Yeah.
about, oh, that day in April when everything was perfect, and then
Yeah.
that day in July when everything went wrong and I don't know what happened. You know what I mean?
It's a bit like with Super Bowl coming up, it's topical. It's like quarterback development. Everyone expected to do this. And
Yeah,
like CJ Stroud, great rookie year, little
sophomore
L.
slump.
It doesn't mean he's gonna go this way, but people just
Yeah,
assume it's like this. It's the same. I mean, Jaden Daniels, your guy. It's like if he comes out next year and has a couple games, it's not that we were wrong. It's just that, development and progression it's not always on a linear path. And that's a
correct.
lot like yeah, love and breakups are a lot like that. There are good days and there are bad days, and
Yeah.
they're not always in order.
No, they're not. They're never in order. It's funny. Yeah, my first impressions of the movie, because it's funny. So when it came out in real time, I remember seeing the trailer and thought I didn't want to see it because there's that scene where he's like with the cartoon birds and shit, and I thought it was a musical, and I was like, I don't want
Yeah.
to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt in a musical. So I misunderstood what the concept of the movie was. But whenever I first watched the movie, just whenever I go back and watch it now, that opening author's note where it says like any reference to real people in this movie are strictly coincidental, especially you, Jenny Beckman,
Yeah.
bitch.
We all have one. We're
I
not
think that's
using
one,
names. We all have
right.
one.
I think that's the most original way I've ever seen a rom-com open up. Like
Yeah.
that's how you catch your audience. That's how you tell a story.
Yeah. There's like yeah, we all have one where it's like, nope, there's nothing redeemed about that one.
No, yeah, like it's
She's
like I
just a
don't wish you
bitch.
the best at all.
I cannot be mature about this. I
Yeah, no,
just
fact, like
think
I
you're a
cannot
bitch.
take the high road on this one.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna play it cool, and I will react emotionally.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, that's funny. So a tale of I guess we could get to it in a later acts, but you think it's a tale of love and heartbreak?
Are you asking me if I do?
Yeah, do you? I mean, that's what
Um,
you said, so obviously you do, but I'd like you to expound upon that.
well, yeah, so I their love is a part of the story. I don't think it's a
Yeah.
love story. Well,
No, certainly not. I don't think it's a love story.
no, I don't think it's a love story. If you could call it a self-love story, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
a love story. Um, I think it's really just about in not unpacking trauma because there's no trauma really. Well, heartbreak is traumatic, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that it's more so just about how we tend to I don't want to say romanticize the person because he did
Yeah.
romanticize Summer, but he mostly romanticized the experience.
I will say this. Watching it, people talk about the movie, and I'm pretty down the middle on it. Like I see a lot of Summer and I see a lot of Tom and I see both sides of it.
Hmm.
People talk about the movie like he was a crazed stan. He had sex with the woman. They were dating. Like it
No, yeah,
wasn't
no.
but you hear people talk
They
about the
do?
movie and they
See,
talk like
I've never seen that.
he was in love with her and she never showed him interest. And I'm like,
See,
she
okay, see, I
did.
never
She
saw, I
did.
never,
She did.
yeah, no, she was into him. I never got that. So whenever I would watch like clips on like YouTube or TikTok, whatever,
Yeah.
it's all just dudes being like, fuck Summer, fuck Summer,
Yeah.
fuck Summer,
Well,
fuck Summer.
because everyone is the main character of their own story, right? And
Right,
so they remember the summer in their lives. They don't remember when they were summer, Like
right.
I bet you for every one of those dudes, there's a woman somewhere that's like, oh, you want to talk about being led on? Let me tell you
Right.
about when you da 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 da.
Right.
And so I have a saying, sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield, and that's
Yeah,
life. I don't think it's a story about love and tragedy. I just think it's life in the complicated
true.
ways we navigate it. And young people, I mean, this was a year, I guess that it is a relationship,
Yeah,
but like
year and
it's
a half.
just 10 years from now when he gets married and has kids, he's barely going to remember, what happened. But, it was
Correct.
just a little fling. And
Yeah.
it, in that moment, it felt like that was the only thing that mattered in the world. But
Hmm.
kind of showed, how small stakes things can be. Um,
That's true.
you
I
know,
think, oh, go ahead.
I did want to, this is bad podcasting, but I did want to let the
Okay.
audience know this is Act One called The Allure of Summer, days 1 through 250-ish, interwoven with flashbacks. We're gonna do it in acts, so we're gonna keep it going that way. But this was Act
Correct.
One.
Um,
Um, so yeah, I think everyone goes into it thinking about the worst time they were Tom and
right.
not macro level thinking about how ultimately mundane this was. Like he met a girl
Yeah.
at work, they hung out, they dated for 6 months, 8 months, it fizzled out. That's so normal.
Yeah. That's true.
That is like it's just
That's
that's why I
true.
love this movie. Because it it narrows the scope of like life is like this, right?
Right.
And it just narrows it down to like those that year and a half where
Hmm.
everything seemed to matter. But in the grand scheme of things, when he's
It
80, he won't
was
even remember what the fuck summer is.
right, exactly. Like that's how I live my life, honestly. Like whenever I think of like life is obviously the ultimate story, or the only story we'll ever truly experience, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, eventually the bad things in your life will be just one or two sentences in a paragraph in
Yeah.
a chapter in a book. You know what I mean? It's interesting that you brought up the point about like flashbacks and the character development, because for me, I really love the split screen in the beginning of the movie where they show
Yeah.
their childhoods.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see a lot of rom-coms where they show how your childhood informs your views on love and relationships as you grow
Yeah.
up. And there's a couple like little details that they show in there. Like for example, he's playing soccer, which is a team sport. She's riding a horse, which is an individual sport.
Yeah.
You kind of see how they have those like ideologies when
Yeah.
it comes to relationships. She literally said like I don't believe in love, and he's a hopeless romantic. Even
To
just
her,
well
again,
to her.
some woman somewhere is like, Tom's a hopeless what?
True, 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 true.
I
That's
want
a good
like
point.
it's you know
I'm sure there's
it's
some girl he just hit one night and did not call back.
correct.
Um, Also, I
Yo,
think go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I love the writing in this movie is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah,
there's that opening part where she's a little girl, and it said the one thing Summer loved most in the world was her long dark hair,
yeah,
and the thing she loved second most was that she could cut it off and feel nothing.
yeah. Very
And
subtle.
right, but it just perfectly encapsulated and foreshadowed what was going to happen in the movie.
I disagree. She didn't feel anything for him.
Oh yeah, I don't think she didn't feel anything for him. I don't
I
think that
mean,
at
I
all.
just she at the end of the movie when I mean, we're jumping, but like
Yeah,
she doesn't. You don't explain yourself to someone you didn't give a fuck about.
right. True.
Um, she told him. She told him. He asked the question. She answered it a bit harshly. We'll get to that later, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I was like, because there's actually a fan theory about that
someone
ever
you
happened.
actually don't give a fuck about, someone you were wholly indifferent to. You don't explain yourself.
Yeah,
You
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 wouldn't have.
don't.
Yeah.
So
Agreed. I really like that they start the movie with the breakup and the crash out where he's
yeah,
smashing the plates in his room and they have to
yeah,
call his sister to come get him.
yeah. A little dangerous.
Yeah, a little dramatic too, yeah.
A little smashing plates. Your
On your
padded
on your
room.
own counter.
Yeah, you got to replace those plates and clean that shit up. Yeah.
Um but yeah, so what were your thoughts on the karaoke scene when they all go out as coworkers and she's kind of telling
Okay,
her,
so actually, I had that in Act Two. So you want to just go to Act Two?
yeah, let's just go to Act Two.
All
Yeah.
right. So, um, me. So we're gonna. All right. So we're gonna move to Act Two. Act Two is the called the Illusion of Control. It's about day 250-ish to 400-ish of the relationship
Hmm.
between the two of them.
Tom and Summer.
And Thomas Sumner. So that's where so my theory of the movie is it's not about love and tragedy and all that stuff. It is actually one big long rabbit duck illusion.
Hmm.
And for the viewers, the rabbit duck illusion is basically it's two pictures, right? And if you look at it one way, it looks like a rabbit, and if you look at it another way, it looks like a duck. You can Google it. But
We'll post it in the content too.
we'll post it in the content. But basically, the premise of it is that if you see a duck first, all information that you take in will just confirm that it's a duck. And if you see a rabbit first, all information that you take in will confirm that it's a rabbit. And I just think this movie is one long duck rabbit illusion in the sense
Hmm.
that Tom was kept seeing a duck. The same information he's taking in, he's seeing a duck. Same information,
Yeah.
and Summer was seeing a
Summer.
rabbit. And
Yeah.
it's just like they were taking in the same information, but they were confirming their priors with that information. And the first example I get of it is like they show up to the karaoke night, right?
Hmm.
And he pulls up on her. It's a coworker outing. It's a karaoke night. And she's like, "Oh
Right.
my God, so and so said you were going to come. I didn't think you'd make it." Now, if you want to see a duck, she was asking about me. She was thinking about me. Da, da,
Right.
da,
Right.
da. If you want to see a rabbit, it's a coworker. They met in the elevator, and she said so and so's going to show up. So she was, hey, you're here. And it's just
Right.
that movie is just
Exactly.
that happening over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's
And it's
true.
just
Even
like,
the remember the scene where he's like, "It's over before it started, y'all." I asked her how her weekend was. She said it was good.
yeah,
He's like,
and
that meant she
good.
was fucking somebody else.
Yeah. And if you want to see a duck, you'll see a duck. If you want to see a rabbit, you'll see a rabbit. It's like when they stumble, his buddy gets drunk and they stumble to
Yeah.
the taxi, and he's like, "My friends like you," and she asks him, do you like me? And he says, he just plays it off like, yeah, I do. And she goes, I think
Right.
you're interesting. And if you want to see, if you're Tom and you want to see a duck, you're like, interesting. That's a word. She's intrigued by me. She's thinking about me.
Right.
If you
Right.
want to see, if you're, if you're Summer, you want to see a rabbit, you're like, that's the most empty, mundane statement. I called him
True.
interesting because I didn't say I liked him back. And I just
Fair. That's
think
true. But they did
it's,
have a longing gaze right after that.
if
But
you want to see a duck, that gaze is a sign of romantic intention. If you want to see a rabbit, or I think I'm mixing them up, but you get what I'm saying. If you want to see one, it's a
yeah,
sign of romantic intention. If you want to see the other, it's, hey man, I was 6 beers deep and I'm waiting on a taxi
true.
and I had to
That's
put
true.
go
Yeah.
somewhere
I'm
with my
sure they were
eyes.
faded.
Like it's
That's true.
if
But
you wanted to
then,
view them, if there was a sequel viewing it all through Summer's eyes, it would be very interesting because I guarantee
yeah, that's
you you'd
true.
see a lot more examples of, well, of course you saw it that way. Like, how could he see it another way? It's just he's the
Right.
protagonist, so you see it all through his illusion of it. So,
Correct.
anyways,
Um, Although she did go walk up to him at the fax machine and kiss him in the office. That's pretty rabbit to me.
yeah, fair, fair, and that's when that's why I don't like when people say he was just
No,
seeing
he
things
wasn't
he
some
wanted to
simp
see.
who, yeah, he wasn't some simp who was like stalking a coworker. It was, no, it's not that at all. It was very much a mutual interest there. They just wanted different things.
Correct. And the
Um,
signs are there for both of them the whole time. It just depends on how you want to interpret them.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's 100% true. Um, so one of my favorite scenes in the movie is after they first sleep together. And there's a montage next day where he's walking around and they're playing Make My Dreams Come True.
Yeah,
And he's high-fiving
yeah.
everybody in the street and dancing with the strangers and shit. I call
Yeah.
that post-nut euphoria.
Yeah, for sure. Or just like I did it. I didn't think we'd get here, but here we are.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I had the first time I'd heard that song, that Hall and Oates song. I mean, I heard it, but I didn't
What?
know it was
Oh, okay. That's
I didn't
crazy.
know it was Hall and
It's on my
Oates.
80s playlist.
Yeah. What you got?
Um, okay, so another so a quote I love or line I love from the movie is when he's talking to his friends. And he goes, write a book. And he says, the best way to get over a woman is to turn her into literature. And as a poet, that is the most relatable shit of all time. Because let me tell you, like, I was hanging out with some poet friends one time. You know them, and
Yeah.
we were just chopping up talking about love and loss and heartbreaking women and all that stuff. And I was like, this might be a little unhealthy, but let me ask y'all something. I was like, do y'all sometimes just do shit for the plot? And they were like, yes, I thought it was just me. And then I was like, I broke it down further. I was like, sometimes I'll be dealing with someone. I know I probably should end it, and it's probably not the healthiest or whatever. Um, but I'll be like, I don't know. I can get some fire poems out of this experience, so I'm gonna go ahead and go through it.
Do you have any poems permanently in the rotation that were inspired by real life events, for lack of a better word? You don't know names,
Uh,
obviously, but
right, right.
like if you had to do a quick 15 minutes tomorrow, is one of those poems in that 15?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, fair enough.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, I got three or four of those that I remember I
Three or
did one.
four.
Yeah. I remember I did one at a show once and there was these two older black ladies and they came up to me and they were like, "We loved your poem." And I was like, "Oh, thanks so much." And they were like, "Baby, who hurt you?" And I was like, "Some chick from Philly." And they were like, "We
Yeah.
gonna find her."
I never got that when I used to go to your poetry open mic thing. I got just an overly horny crowd. I never got the the heartbreak.
Right.
Yeah. So
Um, so my question to you is, oh, I got a couple questions for this part because I my acts are a little different than yours, but
or
which part of their relationship reminded you most of the best parts of any previous relationships that you've had?
so I don't think they were ever. I think Tom might have been in a relationship. I don't think she was in a relationship. Did they do anything other
Well,
than fuck? I don't really think they went to the furniture
they
store. They
yeah,
went
they
to
went
the
to
movies
IKEA,
once.
went to the movies.
I don't
I think
think
that's
that's another
pretty much
thing,
it.
man. Tom. You're drinking a lot, buddy. Like you, he's doing a lot of drinking in this movie, and it's just like, did they hang out? How much? They it doesn't strike me as they were doing much sober hanging out because he was housed a lot, man. I was like, dude, I that's the thing. It felt very drunk coworker, local bar,
Got you. Yeah, it
not
did. It did.
serious.
Yeah, they never went to like museums and they didn't do
Did
like
they
they
meet?
didn't meet each
Did
other's
she meet his
families.
friends?
I she met the one friend, but he was at the apartment by accident.
They
Like it
worked
wasn't
together
a
though. Like,
shit. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. So she knew his friends already.
so you're not meeting each other's friends. You're not meeting each other's families. You're not hanging out
No,
during the daytime. What?
that is true. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
It's just like I don't.
Yeah.
You like was the best part of the relationship, and I'm like, all they did was fucking get drunk. I don't think they did anything else.
Okay.
Which,
Yeah, I mean, you're
listen,
right. That's
great
true.
times,
No, it's great.
but
It's great. It's great. We've all, yeah,
who
we've all,
he got feelings, and it's like I don't think they were. I
he
mean,
did.
he kept seeing the rabbit, but it was. I'm watching this movie, and I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
this whole thing just felt so small stakes. But I get why Tom thought it was the most. He's
Biggest
young.
thing ever.
I mean, what let's age the characters. Are they 23, 24?
24 or something like that, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like your
And I
experience in
think
dating is minimal at that age, and everything
very
is
true.
the only thing. And you don't handle as you get, and breakups at 24 hit a little different than breakups at
Yeah.
34 because breakups at a certain age create like an all shucks mentality to it. Like
Hmm.
we all get into this thing. Um, Trying to do our best, but we know most of them fail. And as you get older, you have a lot
Yeah.
more. You just take them more all
Grace.
shucks. Yeah, you don't take everything so personally because you've had so many.
Yeah.
You had a lot of them fail in the past, but
True.
we keep doing it, man. We drink and we know the hangover's coming because it's fun.
Yeah,
And you
that's
get back,
true.
you just keep doing it. Keep getting these relationships because they're fun and people see companionship, but most of them
Yeah,
fail and the hangover.
that's true. It's interesting you say that because I do believe she did. I think she loved him. I don't know if she was in love with him. But she did care a lot about his art, and she did. I was always kind of in her own way trying to push him to pursue architecture, which is what his true passion was. Um,
Also, probably why one, I think she enjoyed him more than loved him. But I
yeah,
think, well, the part of that is I think that was kind of her not so subtly nudging him to age up a little bit, to grow up a little bit. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
if you want, you, a lot more lucrative future in being an architect writing greeting cards.
Yeah,
And, you know, if he wanted, if he wanted to take her, I mean, those are good suggestions. And what I'm saying is that if she's trying to nudge you into serious play, she's trying to determine where you are in her future. And she
true.
sees an architect in her future more than she sees a greeting card writer.
Right now,
And
yeah,
she doesn't do that for somebody that she doesn't care about. So I do think that
true.
she cared about him.
And I think
So
that was a factor in why she didn't want to be with him too, because
yeah,
he had this thing he wanted to do, but he didn't pursue it. I think
correct.
that's gonna be a I don't want to say turn off, but it's gonna be can be a deterrent to someone if you're looking for to form like a deeper a partnership or relationship with them. Um and so it's funny. So one thing I did that I found very relatable was when he showed her his favorite spot at that park where he could
Yeah.
see they could see all the buildings and stuff. Um, it's interesting because I remember going through certain breakups and stuff, and I would like stop going to certain spots because I
Yeah.
would had brought people I grew to care about to those spots, and now it's like, oh damn,
You know
now
my
it was our
rule,
spot.
man. I do not bring dates to because I don't
Blank.
want them to
Yep.
know where to find me when it ends. Because when I lived in
Yep.
Minnesota, I did that. It was an amateur hour. It was a mistake. The local bar I went to when I lived in Minnesota brought a girl there. It didn't work out. Thursday night
Yep.
after work, I'm trying to hit a Thursday, walking to my spot. She's sitting in my motherfucking seat, talking to my friends, hanging out with my bartenders. I'm like, nah, fuck this. I will never do that shit again. Like, nope,
Same,
absolutely
same,
not.
dude. Like,
To
same,
this
man.
day,
I just,
y'all at the spot we hang out with will meet
yeah.
any woman I'm dating the night before the wedding. Like that will be I'm so serious. Like the night before the wedding.
Nah, I feel you,
Because I
man.
will
Because like
not, my spot is my peace, it is my sanctuary, and I
a
will not
hundred
give it
percent, a
away.
hundred percent.
No. So
Yeah, man. It's funny because
sorry for
the
interrupting
spot
you.
we no, you're good. So the
Yeah.
spot we go to was our spot. Like that's the
Yeah.
funny part. So I stopped going for like a year and some change after the breakup, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I remember one time I tried to go, and I was like, I couldn't even bring myself to go in there because it just brought back too many memories and stuff. And so then I was like, I need to go there and I need to make the spot my spot.
Half the
So that
motherfuckers.
is,
Hey, where's so and so at? Man, don't ask me.
well, luckily for me, it was I went
Before
there
you
a
were
lot, but
known.
yeah, so I
Correct.
was good. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, so I'd have to deal with that. If that was the case, I definitely probably never came back. But but yeah, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, no, 100%. Like I've literally like remember when you asked me like, do I ever bring dates to poetry and shit?
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm not about to ruin my piece.
Yeah. I got a whole rotation of bars and restaurants and spots
Yep,
around here that I will take dates to, but never that one because that's where I want to go when I don't want to be on, you know. I
yep,
don't have to be charming there. I don't
100%
have to be, I just be normal. So
true.
what you got what else you got for Act Two?
Speaking of uh locations, what was your thoughts on the bar fight? Like, do you feel like she had some culpability in that by not telling the dude like, "Hey, I'm with someone right
Nah,
now"?
no. She was she I think she handled so my rules are okay. So if your girl is fine, niggas going if your girl is fine, dudes are gonna try, right? That's just the way it is. That's just the cost of dating attractive women, right?
Right, yeah.
So
Don't date a bad one if you can't handle it being with a
right.
bad one.
So I have no problem because they see what I see. I get it. So yada, yada. Oh no, I'm with somebody. Fall back. That's fine. I don't want that. The
Yeah,
second time is your spot. Is where you step in. Like, hey, she said she doesn't want to be bothered. I'm with her. We're trying to have a good
yeah.
night. Let's just all, keep the peace, whatever, whatever.
Hmm.
That's where you come in. So I think she did her role. He said something. Um she was like, hey, I'm with somebody. Let's just have a good night.
Yeah.
He kept going. That's when he stepped in. And Tom just lost the fight. I don't know.
No, yeah,
He need to
losing
get
the fight is cool.
he need
And
to
that dude
get
deserved to get punched in the
losing
face.
the fight in front of your girl is not cool. You will never live that
Well,
down.
no, no. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's not
That's
cool.
true. Well, I
Don't
think
ever
he
if
also didn't expect it. He also didn't expect it to be a fight. I think he thought like, oh, I knocked him out. Cool.
why that dude was
I don't know. Well, again, that's probably Tom's first fight.
I forget who told me this. It was Bomani Jones on this podcast. He said that they make weight classes for a reason. The best fighters in the world fight within like 5 pounds of their weight. So you trying to think and maybe the skill gap you have to close to beat someone 20, 30 pounds of muscle heavier than you.
Yeah.
If you size them up and it don't look like it's good and you with your girl, man, hey, let's just go to the next spot. It's a little too, I don't really want to deal with this. Let's get home safe. I
I'm not even
don't
gonna be petty like that with you. I'm not
yeah,
even gonna be
like do
petty like
not
that.
pick a fight and lose in front of your girl. And if that dude was a solid 20, I mean, he was frail. This is a solid 20, 30 pound
Yeah,
man.
that's
Like,
true. Yeah, he was a pretty big
like
dude, or bigger than him. Yeah.
that's 3 or 4 different weight classes in the UFC. You're going to lose that fight, unless you have some sort of training that closes the weight gap.
Right.
But no, I think everyone handled it. I think the guy was a dickhead, and
Yeah, he
sometimes you
definitely
lose
was.
a
He deserved to
fight.
get punched in the face.
Sometimes you lose a fight, and I think it was actually my question for you in this act is that is when did he start to lose her? And I was like, when he lost that fight. That was it. You cannot lose a fight in front of your girl. Not
No, you can't.
I mean,
You
we
got to
didn't
shoot him
see
if
the
that
fight. We
works.
only saw the two punches go by, but like it
True. Yeah,
looked
we didn't really see the full.
he walked back, but he had the fruit on his face before they even
Yeah, the
got
ice
to
on his face.
the crib. So that means somebody
Yeah,
gave him that ice in the interim, which means
in
he
the
got
bar. Yeah,
whooped.
it's entirely possible.
When you get
Yeah,
up off the ground, motherfucker hand you a bag of frozen peas.
yeah. He
That's,
did hit him hard. He did. He hit him pretty hard. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah.
that's what tripped me out is he had that before they even got to the crib. I'm like, damn, did somebody
Yeah.
who,
No,
who
that's
ran
usually
and
the
got you
bartender
some
that was
ice?
like, "Here you go, sweetie."
Lost the fight so bad. A stranger gave you an ice pack? That's
That's
rough, man.
yeah. Getting free ice at the bar is pretty crazy.
That's rough, man.
But another thing. Well, I don't relate to that part. I've never been beat up in front of my girl, but another thing that was very relatable was when he's like, remember that one montage where he's like, I love the heart-shaped birthmark on her chest, and I love
Yeah.
her how she smiles, whatever. And then at the end, he's like, I hate summer. I hate her crooked teeth. I hate the cockroach on her chest. It just
Cockroach on
reminded
her
me of that the lines from Euphoria. He's like, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress.
hate the way that you sneak this. If I catch flights, it's gonna
This
be
flight's gonna be
direct.
direct.
No, it's pretty good.
Um,
But that's what I thought he. When do you think he lost her? Started to lose her because it was clearly
um,
a. There's a
I
moment,
don't.
and shout out to Zoe Deschanel. She does not.
She acted the shit out of that
The
role.
right, it looks like a muted blank slate, but like if you watch it with the critical eye,
It's a lot of nuance.
you can feel her falling out. Like
Withdrawing,
you can
yeah,
just feel that's the word I'm looking for, withdrawing. And it's just like it's just there's a way that she plays it that's just great. But when do you think she
yeah.
started withdrawing?
Ooh, that's a really good question. It's hard to say because it's so everything was so nonlinear. I
Yeah.
think for me, it. I don't think it was the night of. I think it was after the fight for me. I don't think it was the fight itself. I think it was after the fight when they're talking and she basically was saying, "You embarrassed me because you fought for me as if I was your woman." And I think that for her was, I think, a big thing because her whole thing was it's light, it's non-committal, whatever. In essence, she felt insulted that he defended her honor because you shouldn't be defending my honor because my honor is not yours to defend. Like I don't care about my honor. Not I don't care about my honor, but in the sense of I don't need you to protect me because what are you protecting me from? I'm a single woman. I think in that sense that was
I
what
think
bothered her the most.
I think people are often inconsistent narrators, unreliable narrators in their own
True.
story. And I think that what she was really feeling and wanted to say was, you lost that fight in front of me. I don't think she'd have been singing that tune if he won. If he won, she wouldn't have been like, I'm mad you fought in my honor. Like, no, she's mad you
Yeah,
lost in front of
that's
me.
possible.
Uh,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
um,
Um, that's a good point. I another scene that I definitely literally experienced was remember where he that boss called him in for that meeting. He's like, "Hey, are you okay? Because everyone notices something's different about you,
yeah,
and you're not yourself." So I was working. So I was working at I won't say the company name, but a job. This is like 5, 6 years ago, and I was going through like this was like my first actual like adult breakup. I was like 24, so it hit different versus like college and high school shit.
correct.
And I was like, you definitely like heartbroken, depressed, whatever the case may be. But I wasn't like vocal about it and stuff. And I was keeping it, you know, pretty hard, close to the chest. And I remember like one of my managers was like, "Hey, I just want to." She called me to a meeting and she was like, "Hey, I just want to check on you because your work performance like dipped a little bit, and you don't seem like yourself. You're not your usual like happy disposition, whatever. It's like, are you okay? Like, is everything going on? Like, is anything going on at home or whatever?" So I definitely related to that because it's bad when your boss notices that you're not yourself.
Well, I mean, I think people are worse at hiding it than they believe.
That's true.
Like people notice. They just
Don't say anything.
they don't say anything or they wait until the right time to tell you. But nah,
Yeah.
man. One day, one bad day, fine. A whole bad week. Like people don't really have bad weeks. Something's usually like when something's going
Hmm.
on. It's
Yeah.
anyways, I think it's harder to hide it than people believe, especially genuine heartbreak, which I'm sure he
Yeah.
felt that. I'm sure 10 years later he probably thinks it was all silly, but at the time he was
Right.
genuinely heartbroken, you know.
Oh yeah, he was fucked up. It's bad when you drinking Jack in the morning.
He was drinking a lot in that movie. He was in that bottle. You want to go
Smoke
to
everywhere.
you
Binge
want to
drinking.
you want to go to Act Three?
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. All right, so we got Act Three, acceptance and moving on, which is about day 400-ish to 500. Um, and I just want to jump out of this by saying that split screen at the end is one of the greatest scenes in movie history. Um,
Yes.
if you
That
viewers,
shit hurt, man.
if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. It's iconic. Um, I can't even I don't do it justice explaining if you haven't seen it before, but go watch it and it's just one of the greatest scenes in movie history. It's a split screen where one side is Tom's expectations and the other side is his reality. And it's just they're side by side with each other and you just go through how, what he wanted to happen and what's really happening and you watch it all. It hit him. I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
sure
soul crushing.
why
It's
he
crushing.
not sure why he thought what was
Yeah,
gonna
he
happen
got
was
his
gonna
expectations
happen
a little too high. Granted,
way
she
too
acted
high.
like they were.
Because at this
She
point, they
did
hadn't
act like
seen
they
each
were on a
other in
date
like
when they were.
90 days, right?
Yeah, but I mean, she definitely was flirting with him at that wedding. Like, that was wild
I
shit
mean,
though.
well, there's a plot hole there. Did he not see a wedding ring that whole night?
So I went back and watched it. She wasn't
At the wedding, she
engaged.
wasn't engaged at the time. You're
She
right. You're
wasn't
right. When
engaged.
she gave him that scathing line at the end, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He asked, I
What are
thought
you?
you didn't
How
want
did you
things
know?
serious. And she was like, I didn't until I met him. And he was like, how did you,
I
what
was
did she
sure of
say?
everything. She was. I realized that I knew. I finally knew what I was never sure of with you, I think is
Correct.
what she said.
Which is like, okay, I know I asked, but you could have finessed that a
First of
little
all, I would have
bit.
thrown up and I would have had my sister whip her ass.
I mean, you could have put a little sauce on that one, man. That
Yeah,
was a little
man.
too harsh. It's like those people who are like, I'm brutally honest, and it's like, well, that just means you're antisocial. Because
Yeah,
no
you're an
one,
asshole. That's what
like,
that
you
means.
need to, like, everyone knows you got to finesse things here and there to get.
Yeah, there's certain shit you just don't say.
But nah, man, when he asked, which again is why I think she cared about the guy because she explained herself, and I
Yeah,
know myself. I don't explain myself if I don't give a fuck. Like if you got
yeah,
me copping please and saying no, it wasn't like that, that means I gave a shit.
yeah,
But yeah. So the split screen, loved it.
yeah. It was great.
Down to the pan out to the wedding ring, and
Mm. I don't
this
know why she
month.
never told him. Like, you could
When do you tell them though? They don't. They're not in
text me
communication.
before I show up to your house. I don't know, man.
Well, she again, Duck Rabbit. She's thinking, "Hey, I met my old boyfriend on the train. It's a fucking. There's 30 people there. She just like she's inviting him over for a
Yeah,
wine dinner. It's was it actually the engagement party though?
I don't know. I'm not
Um,
sure.
it just um
Would you invite next to a party that your fiance was going to be at?
how X um
Like a year? It seems like a year or less. Would you do that?
no, I would not do that. I don't
It
think
seems like a bad idea to me.
that's yeah, it wasn't great. Especially when I mean Summer was not dumb. She had to know how that man felt about her. Um,
Yeah, that's the shit that made her a villain to me.
that's
Like,
part of the writing that gets a little shaky for me is that like that whole wedding scene just didn't it felt out of character for Summer. It just I was just like it's a movie, but like it's just like so they met on a train and then they just go.
mhm.
Was it a mutual friend's wedding?
It was an old coworker, the lady who got engaged when they were doing the champagne.
Okay, so I mean, all right, so I'm gonna
So she
shoot
was,
Summer
so he
some
probably knew
mail.
she was going to be there.
You meet on a train,
Um,
you go to a
yeah,
wedding of a mutual friend,
right.
you dance with your ex-boyfriend at a wedding. Is it out of the bounds of polite society? I wouldn't say that. Would I do it? Probably not.
Yeah.
But
But
especially
then
when
invited me to, well, remember
but
she invited him to the party. The party was the week after. So you did, so you know what? I think it was the engagement party then.
maybe I would not invite my ex to my engagement party.
Yeah,
That's
that's some cruel
absurd.
shit, man.
That's
Like,
absurd.
I'm
That's
sorry,
absurd.
man. Like, her being, whimsical with other people's hearts, like that happens. We've all done it,
Well, it's
And
the
again, this
it's
is from
the
Tom's POV, so I get it. But
it's the
that
cop
to me, it
out
was
that like I never lied to you, and it's like okay, fine, you didn't lie, but you knew that man loved you, and
right.
like sometimes not lying isn't enough. You have to be like, I cannot, I know this person will just continue to say yes to me. I have to not do this.
Correct. Like,
Like,
let's come on, man. Let's
yeah,
be honest here. We know what the deal is.
correct.
Agreed. And for me, like I was gonna say this for later, but I'm just gonna say now. It's like, in to me at least, in most relationships, there's always gonna be someone who cares more than the other. That's just the way it is. That's just how hearts work. That's how love works to
Yeah,
me. But how you handle that, having that power over someone, or whether or not you choose to use that power over someone, that's a testament to your character to me.
yeah.
And that was a big flaw for Summer when she did that shit.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't like Tom offered her much, it wasn't like he was
Yeah.
dropping bread or whatever.
No, I know.
I would just love to see it made it through Summer's eyes because
Yeah, they should have. I would love to see a
we
B
never
version, a
got
B
to
side
hear,
of
we
that.
never got in her head. She's just
Yeah,
talking to Tom, and I would love to at least
yeah, you're right. Pretty much
get a scene of her with her friends without Tom in the room.
talking about Tom. Yeah, yeah,
Correct. Just I think that would have brought a good balance to the movie. And I get it. Tom is the
yeah. Hmm.
protagonist. That's literally the point of the movie is to keep it
Right.
is almost like
It's supposed
before
to
it
be
was cool
one-sided.
to hate men in movies, like it was
Right.
it was written to make Tom look like a fool. But I do. It was written. It was basically rage bait for men. But I would have loved to have like at least gotten
Yeah.
one scene of Summer without Tom around talking about
Hmm.
Tom, or just living. Just give me 10 minutes of her outside of him, just so I could
Yeah.
see what it was from her perspective for a little bit. I thought it brought the movie good balance.
That's fair. That would have been an interesting
Especially since it was only 90 minutes. You got 10 minutes,
to witness.
like,
Yeah, it was a quick little movie. Like
yeah.
it goes by very quickly. Yeah, that split screen was brutal, man. One of the funny scenes in the movie though was when he gives that whole rant at work when he quits, and then
Yeah.
he's walking down the stairs, and his friend starts to slow clap,
Yeah.
and the manager's like, "No, no, we're not doing that."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't,
He'd been crashing out for a minute.
yeah, I can't really. Yeah, that was an unprofessional way to fire somebody. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Very unprofessional way to fire somebody.
Um, was there's one other thing I wanted to say. But yeah, so I know we say like we think Summer cared about him, but when
Yeah.
they show that montage of where shit starts to like go haywire for them,
Yeah.
and he says, "Oh, I love this song, such and such," and she's like, "Oh, I've never heard it," and he said, "It's the first song on the mix that I made for you."
Yeah.
Shit like that is it makes it hard to root for Summer.
Well, when you're withdrawing, those things don't. She would have noticed it before, right? But like she just was
Hmm.
checked out and she was looking for a way to get out. But yeah, I mean that's again
True.
the sign that the
And he
signs
definitely
are
was
always
smothering
there.
her.
The signs are always there.
Yeah.
It's just whether you're not when you look back on it, it's duck rabbit illusion in the sense that like once you see the rabbit and you go back and see all the what happened and you see, oh, I did do that. I did
Yeah.
interpret that wrong. I did da 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 da. Did da da
Hmm.
da da. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's a good point.
Would the story have been
Um,
better in a linear format?
um, I don't know.
I think they should have. They. I
I don't
think it.
know.
I think showing us the breakup early was good. I think the rest should have
Yeah.
been linear. Let us know they break up first, so that you can put us in that time frame, so we know it's not a happily ever after story.
Yeah.
And then, because it's a bit jarring to keep jumping back and forth from lovey-dovey
That's
to
true.
withdrawn, lovey-dovey to withdrawn, and I think it would have. I think it would have one put Summer in a more flattering light because you would have seen her
Sympathetic light. Yeah.
gradual push, withdrawal because
Yeah.
you're seeing these wild swings of and it's linear, but like it's
Hmm.
still a movie. You're still watching it in real time, and you're just seeing. Well, she just loved him, and you're getting these. And part of it is like you're getting it as mixed signals from Tom, but maybe in the linear format they
Right.
weren't mixed at all. It was actually
Him not seeing
him
it.
not picking it up. So
That's
anyway,
true. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
what you got?
I'd love to see like an alternate version of this of the movie with
Yeah,
that type of storytelling.
maybe we should write it. Well, I guess this isn't our IP.
Oh, so the one of the first parts of Act Three was for me was that was very funny and interesting was the and important to his development too was the blind date
Yeah,
with the redhead
yeah,
where he's like droning about what happened with Summer and then she's like, well, did she cheat on you? And he's
right.
like, no. He's like, did she take advantage of you? He's like, no. And he's like, she
Did
told
she
you she
lie
didn't
to
want a
you?
relationship. He's like, no. Yeah, did she lie to you? No. And he's like, so she's like, so what did she do to you?
Okay, again, as someone who has taken that stance before, I knew what I was doing. No, I never
Right.
lied to you, but I knew the whole time what I was doing wasn't right. It's just
Correct.
like
Yeah.
it's a very black and white, honestly dumb and dishonest way of looking at things. Like, well,
Yeah, it's a
I told
technicality.
you I didn't want a relationship at 3:17 p.m. on April 30th, and then I pretended to be your boyfriend for six
For
months.
3 months. Yeah.
But on April 30th at 3:17 p.m., I texted you that I never wanted to be
But
your
that one time
boyfriend.
I said I'm not looking for
Yeah,
anything
it's like I
serious,
knew what the fuck I was doing. Come
even though
on,
I
man.
met all your friends.
Come on, man. Like, you have to edit that. But like, it's just
Yeah.
like
Yes, that's very
it's
true. Yeah.
incredibly dishonest and not at all. It's like pretending you don't know how people work, you know.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
That's
So,
true.
what do you rate it, man? Did you have anything else before we
So
go to ratings?
yeah, I had
Okay,
one last question for you.
go ahead.
What's the worst blind date you've ever been on?
So I mean, if you're counting the apps as blind dates, I guess they are.
Oh yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I had a woman one time over appetizers yell, "I can't believe they want $12 for these little bitty scrimps." Um, if you know anything about me, and the audience will soon, I was mortified. I'm sorry. Oh man.
Be a little script.
Yeah, that
Was she
was
from
the
Atlanta?
I don't remember where she was from. This is a long time ago.
That's
And I will
crazy.
just say that from that, I stopped doing dinner as a first date after that because I never want to be strapped with 90 minutes with that woman ever again. I never saw her again. But like
Nah,
you're stuck as
that's a good point.
appetizers.
Yeah, I
So
try
it
to
was
avoid
like
first dates for
90
dinner.
minutes. And this was before every restaurant just rushed you out of the place. So it was a legit
Oh
90 minutes
God,
just
no.
sitting there.
Yep.
Anyways, how about you?
Uh, yeah, man. So it was a friend from work. She hit me up and she goes, "Hey, are you single?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And she's like, "I have a friend. I want you to think you should meet her. I think you'd like her, whatever." Sends me a picture of the girl, cute girl. And the girl has like a dog. She's like, "Oh," so I get her number or Snapchat, whatever. And she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the dog park to walk my dog and play with my dog on like a Saturday, whatever. Cool. All right, sounds like a pretty chill day." So we go to the dog park. First of all, I meet her, and the picture was a filter, but it was like the filter that you couldn't tell was filter, or it just happened to be like she just took the best picture she'd ever taken. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, it's fine, whatever. And we're hanging out, and her dog was just like rowdy as fuck. Like her dog kept like jumping on the little kids that were at the
Was it
park.
a pit bull?
It was a big dog. It wasn't a pit bull. It was a big dog. Maybe
Uh,
like a Rottweiler or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was a big dog.
I know what
And
kind of one this
eventually
is.
the kid so the dog plays with the kid, knocks the kid over. I think eventually the dog actually bit one of the kids. Um, and when the lady's like comforting her kid crying, and she's like, "Oh, do you have a problem with my dog? Me and my dog? Is that a problem?" And she's like, "'Cause this is our dog park. Do you live here?" And she's like, "No, I'm from Greensboro." She's like, "Well, you shouldn't be in this dog park." Da da whatever. And then, and then fast forward however many minutes, then she tells me throughout the course of the conversation that she fights dudes and does cocaine.
Oh,
And yeah, and so needless to say, I walked into a car for that, texted her like get home safe, and never spoke to her again. And I told my friend, I was like, I don't know if she fooled you at because the friend from work, we didn't work anymore, so she was an old coworker. So
yeah,
he currently worked with the girl that I was on the blind date with. So
yeah.
I'm like, this girl clearly puts on a great act at work, but she's a fucking mess. And oh, by the way, this all happened at the dog park in 1 hour.
Well, at least you got in and out.
Yeah, so I was like, yep, nope, never again.
That's rough. I know. I didn't have to ward off any dog fights, but
Yeah, dog bit a kid, screamed at a woman for a dog biting a kid. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah.
that's it's a long ass hour.
Yeah,
Um,
dog.
I rank it a four. I think it was a good movie, and I'm only ranking it a four because I'm tired of giving fives. Got to be a bit more strict about my fives. But I love this movie. I think it
I feel you.
is artful. It is intelligent, and it's a great peek into some real life things without trying to be grandiose. So I loved
Right.
it. 4 out of 5.
Um, I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. I think storytelling is great. I love the visuals, the split screens, um, the color palette of the movie was great, or was very captivating rather. Yeah, 4.5 stars for me. I and actually, so the guy who directed it was his first time directing it, or sorry, his first movie he directed, which I think is pretty dope. He actually went on to direct the first two Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
Um, and something I thought was really cool about the movie. I don't know if you noticed, but most rom-coms they utilize color red a lot for obvious reasons. In this movie, they used the color blue to highlight Zoe Deschanel's eyes. So
Yeah.
they never had her wearing red. They always had her wearing like a blue headband, shit like that. Like wallpaper in the room was like trimmed with blue and stuff like that. The only time you see red in the movie is when he meets Autumn.
There you go. And hopefully Autumn is the love of his life and they are married with 3 children and a nice home in the suburbs with a picket fence and two cars. All right. Thanks for listening. My name is Darius. D's all up in your area on all socials.
And I'm Jordan, Jordan B. Writing on all socials.
Please rate, like, subscribe. We're at Movie Goers Pod on all socials. Movie Goers PD on Twitter. That's PD on Twitter.
And for any ongoing movie recommendations, anything you want us to watch and review for you guys, you can reach out to us on moviegoerspod at gmail.com. That's moviegoerspod at gmail.com. That's a wrap. Thanks for coming to the movies with us.